Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. So, you know, if I would have a theme for this episode to some extent, I would almost think that this episode was on vacation. Like it just kind of checked out and it was just going through the motions. Like Hope and Carter. Now, I always get a kick out of the sexy saxophone music when they start making out or loving or whatever, right? But then after that little bit of joy is over, they go right back to the same repeated dialogue where Hope isn't that they're trying to justify their actions and that they're saying we wouldn't have had to try to trick and betray Ridge if it wasn't for the unfair treatment that they've both been getting, that their family has been getting. And Carter being like, he feels bad for what he did, but he's also like, I'm not just doing this for you, I'm also doing this for myself to sit there and make Forrester better. See, it's one of those things where it's like the worst type of villain is the one that actually truly thinks that they're justified in what they're doing. And in reality, they're both wrong. They're both wrong. Yeah, Steffi acted, she pretty much fired her off of emotions and she made it personal. But she also had a little bit of justification for what she did. She didn't like the fact that she was on, her husband again. She was also doing something inappropriate at work. And so you can look at that as just, misconduct at the workplace. And this is something that Brooke also does. She's like, listen, if Steffi didn't sit there and fire her unfairly, she wouldn't have had the need to sit there and do what she did. And I'm like, but that's still not right, though. That's still not right. And that's something that Ridge says a couple of times. And you know what I really love about this episode, in a sense, between in the Ridge and Brooke part, is that there are so many times where Brooke will sit there and talk about what Carter's doing is wrong, how Carter's not there betraying you. And everything she keeps not there talking about is like, oh, I feel so bad for you about what Carter's doing. And Ridge has to sit there and remind her, yeah, your daughter's also involved in this as well. And she's like, yeah, I know. But she doesn't want to sit there and keep bringing up what Hope is doing. She just wants to sit there and talk about Carter's part. Now, after this whole stunning betrayal, he decides to call up Justin and gets him up on speed on, you know, um, what Carter's doing and how to sit there and stop this. Because in all reality, if he would have found out later on, he still would have had to sit there and get Justin. And I'm pretty sure that they can find a way to stop Carter and from taking over the company. It's $1 billion company. You can't just sit there and even if as stupid as it is, even if you signed your names on papers that you didn't realize was um, going to give him ownership of the company, a judge is not just going to look at them and be like, "Well, you did sit there and sign your name, so it is what it is." That's not how that works. And I mean, hell, any average common person, any average person with common sense could sit there and look at that and can probably sit there and stop that whole transfer of power. Now, going into the Electra and Ivory part, I'm like, I hope there is more to this story than what they said today. So one of the things that she snipped out, or hopefully one of the things, hopefully it's not, hopefully it's more than just that, is that she talks about how this person, whoever that they are, that I don't know if she knows who this person did, who this person is that did this, is them creating some fake AI generated nude pictures of her and putting online for all, I guess, her friends and maybe whoever she worked with, just to put that out there in the world. And she's like, it's really horrible. It, really violated me and my privacy and everything like that. That's not even my body and stuff. I get the deathbed. Okay, I do. I don't know if it's enough to flee whatever continent that she was on to go all the way to LA to start over again. As bad as it is, it has to be more than just, taking a bunch of fake photos to make you flee town. Now, it's embarrassing, it's a violation, and da 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 da. I get that. But part of me is like, it would be hella disappointing if that was the only thing that was going on. And she's worried about it bringing shame to the family. She's worried about how Will is going to sit there and take it. And that stuff you can sit there and explain. You can explain that stuff. Yeah, they may be a little apprehensive or whatever, but like at the end of the day, that's family. And if Will is this guy, this amazing guy that you think that he is, he's gonna look past it. He's gonna look past it, he's gonna feel bad for you, and he's still gonna embrace you. So part of me is just looking at this like you're kind of making a bigger deal out of than what it is. And again, I'm not saying it's not bad, and I get the apprehensive for not saying anything a little bit, but in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking that this chick was stalked, she was terrorized, she was threatened, she's dealing with some sort of crazy ex-violent person that she really has to sit there and leave a whole continent from. But this is not as bad as it is. This is not as bad as you know. I don't want to sit there and say it's blown out of proportion because it's not, but in a sense, it kind of is. And I just hope that there's more to the story than what she's saying. Because that stuff, as bad as it is, could be dealt with and not fleeing another country and not being like, oh my God, I can't sit there and bring shame to the family and your family. Yeah, it's bad and having something out there like that is not going to be great. But when you tell your truth and your whole truth, it's not going to be so much as shameful. It's going to be more of a victim dealing with somebody who is. I don't want to sit there and say reverse P or revenge P, but like I think they're going to be a little more sympathetic than you actually believe. Now I read the intro before I started watching Bold and Beautiful, and it says Remy works his magic on Deacon. That's so not the case. Remy wants a job, and he sees that Deacon is slammed and stuff like that. There's dishes that's being broken. There's he's overwhelmed. There's a lot of people that's calling out, deliveries and stuff like that, and he is swamped. And so Remy's like, hey, listen, I need a job. He starts asking him a couple of questions. He's kind of like, oh, I'm not really sure. Let me give you a little mock interview because, I cannot really trust you. Things of that nature. And I'm kind of just like, here's the thing about the food industry as far as working it is retail is tough in general because you got to work with people. You got to work with people and their badass, nasty ass attitudes, right? Supermarkets, grocery stores, retail shops, and stuff like that. It sucks. But the restaurant business is probably among the worst out of all sorts of retail because you're dealing with food, and when you're dealing with food and people, they take nastiness to a whole new level. And bottom line, what I'm sitting there basically saying is, you need him a little bit more than he needs you, right? Like, I'm not saying it's so easy to sit there and get a job, but like, even if I came to LA, working at a restaurant would be the last thing I want to do because I know it's the worst out of all sorts of retail. So I'm like, you doing all this like you trying to drive a hard bargain. I'm like, bro, not only are you slammed, but I don't think he was knocking at your door to sit there and try to get employment there. I mean, on top of the fact that you got Sheila Carter working there and the fact that you can sit there and get anyone in those doors, knowing her reputation, is nothing short of a miracle. So he does want to give him a job, um, a place to stay in, like one of the rented rooms. And he's really happy and stuff. And I guess right now we're all sitting there thinking that he's the one that leaked those fake photos. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Who knows? But I don't think that she knew who it was. Maybe that's another reason why she left, because she couldn't sit there and pinpoint who did it. Personally, think that she should have probably rode out the storm, but I also understand from a psychology point that not everyone's sit there mentally prepared to sit there and deal with that level of exposure and people mocking her and saying things about her, looking at her and judging her. It may not break some people, but it can easily break others. So, that's why I'm trying to give it a little bit of slack, but I just feel like there needs to be more to that than just, what it is. And like I said, for the most part, Hope and Carter's dialogue is super recycled. And a couple of things. The main things they keep saying is, they're never gonna know. They're never gonna find out until it's too late. And granted, while Hope is saying that, she has no idea that it was Brooke who wound up betraying them. Now Carter, okay, fine, whatever, but like, that Hope was in this plan too, so you're also betraying her. People are this saying it's the right thing to do, and it's very questionable at best. Because you've been working at Forrester's for a long time, so it's not like you haven't seen there seen how the Logans has been treated. How you've been treated like trash, and you've done wonders for that company, and you still don't get the recognition. You still don't get your paid due, especially by Stephanie, because of her personal vendetta with you. You know, you have to sit there and literally outperform what Stephanie thought you can do, just to sit there and be like, well, I don't really like you, but I guess you're doing good and you're making the company money. So part of me is a little kind of surprised that she went to them so fast, and she didn't even sit there and think about what this can do for her daughter, what this can do for Katie and any other Logan that works there. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty much about it. Now tonight I'm not going to do a live stream, but tomorrow I'll be back doing it 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So either write the stuff down that you liked or you didn't like in the comment section, and we'll talk more about today's episode and tomorrow's episode in my live stream. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.